Welcome back to a new episode of Insects for Fun. Today, we're diving into one of the strangest looking moths in the world, or I guess I should say caterpillars, known as the lobster moths. With a name like that, you know you're in for something weird and wonderful. The lobster moth belongs to the family Nododontidae, also known as the prominents. Why? Well, it's actually not from their larval stage. They get the name because many of the moths have tufts of hair that stick up out of their heads or on the edges of their wings. These tufts often fold up into a curve when the moths are at rest, which is where they get the name prominent. I still don't really get it, but I don't have to. It's just the way it is. I guess it's because the way the tufts on their bodies fold up, it's prominent. Yeah, that's about all I got for you. But this family includes around 3,800 species worldwide, and many of them are more notably known for their unique and often elaborate larval forms. The most well-known would be the lobster moth, Steropus fagi. This is a European species, but the genus Steropus includes over 25 species across Europe, Asia, and parts of Africa. The species name fagi is derived from fagus, the Latin word for beech, because the larvae are frequently found feeding on beech trees, Fagus sylvatica. So why is the common name lobster moth? Well, it refers specifically to the larval stage of Steropus fagi, whose caterpillar has enlarged, grasping forelegs and a contorted body that vaguely resembles a lobster or crab. You can see the images on Facebook or Instagram, but because it's so wild, I'm going to describe it for my audio-only listeners. These caterpillars start out looking a bit like ants due to their long thoracic legs, but by the final instar, they transform into a reddish-brown or completely brown, crustacean-like creature with a humped back, a large bulbous back end that folds upwards, and tail-like abdominal extensions. When threatened, it rears up and flails its limbs dramatically, pushing away predators and/or intruding siblings. Some scientists believe this posture and coloration are meant to mimic predatory invertebrates like spiders or mantises. These caterpillars seriously look like something out of a sci-fi monster movie. Also, the caterpillars are territorial and do not play nice when crowded. In fact, it's been documented that from their first emergence, the caterpillars guard their eggshell and attack anything, including siblings, that get within touching distance. The eggshell is their first meal, and for them, it's pretty important, apparently. Collectors also warn never to have too many together when reared in captivity, because they constantly injure each other and require a lot of space to molt properly. But despite the fact these insects are not that rare, it can be difficult to find them in the wild. They are primarily in Central and Southern Europe, including the UK, Germany, France, and parts of Scandinavia. Asian species of Steropus are found in Japan, China, India, and Southeast Asia, thriving in temperate and subtropical forests. The female moths don't often come to light, so the best method for getting some would be to find a collector or exploring the woods with a lot of their native host plants, like beech and oak trees. Unfortunately, the adult moths are about as bland as their host plants, and are not easy to observe in the wild. They have a wingspan of about 40 to 70 millimeters with muted gray and brown colors to help them blend in with the tree bark. The forewings do have subtle scallop patterns though, and the body is very fuzzy and stout. They actually cannot eat as adults because they lack a functioning mouth and only live for about a week, so they're seriously only out there flying around trying to find a mate. This of course makes them very easy to raise and breed in captivity, but I really don't know anyone other than one guy named Bart Coppins who has some detailed YouTube videos on raising them. But just because not many people raise them doesn't mean I don't have information on their life cycle. So let's get into it. Eggs are very pale and glossy. They actually look like they could glow in the dark, and they are laid singly or in small clusters on the underside of host plant leaves, especially beech, oak, and hornbeam. This usually happens in late May to early June. It should be noted, though, that their host plants vary depending on their geographic location. For example, in Britain, they're more known to feed on oak and beech, while in Europe, their hosts can be more varied in southern-facing forests. The hatching time takes about 2 weeks at room temperature. Larvae hatch early to mid-June, feeding voraciously through several instars over a period of about 4 to 5 weeks. They usually feed at night, and depending on the instar, can eat up to 3 or 4 leaves in a single feeding. The last instar, when they resemble lobster-like aliens, occurs in July. Pupation takes place in a loose cocoon made of glossy silk, and it can be formed near the base of the host tree or in the leaves where it was feeding. What I found to be really cool about the pupae for this species is that they are incredibly glossy, just like the silk they use to make their cocoons. Like seriously, the pupae looks so smooth and the shine is so satisfying to the eyes. Also, pupae usually enter diapause and overwinter, with the adults emerging in the following May or June. There is generally one generation per year in temperate zones, though in warmer climates, some related species may have a partial second brood. It's also possible for this species to have 2 broods if the weather is warm enough and they were able to develop very fast, even in Europe. And this is going to conclude this week's episode. There's really not a whole lot of information out here on this specific species, but it's very interesting nonetheless. And I hope you guys enjoyed learning about one of the creepiest looking caterpillars out there. As always, make sure to rate the show on whatever platform you listen, and if you want to support the show even further, you can do so at patreon.com. And I'll catch you guys again next week.